It's time.
We need to talk.
Another round, Lachlan. Your
need
game.
to talk.
Your favourite game, Lachlan.
We need to talk.
We need to talk.
We
need to talk. I'd love to say that. I'd love to say, no, we need to talk.
You do say that.
No, but I'd love to say
in the
that
mirror
to her.
Yeah, you don't actually say it to her.
I'd love to say that. We need to talk. We need to talk. We need to talk.
Should be like, do we now? Then you,
straight. Jeez, that was a bluff, wasn't it?
Yeah, and then you're like, no, sorry.
All of a sudden, I'm folding. It's all right. You keep the pot.
Do you need to hand with dinner?
Sorry, you do all of that.
Next.
What is more chance of happening, Lachlan? I'll give you two scenarios. You tell me out of the two, what is more chance of happening?
Next.
Rabbits beat the Wahs tomorrow, 5 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
Or the Dogs beat the Roosters tonight, 8 o'clock. Dogs are at home.
More chance the Rabbitohs beat the Warriors, 100%.
You don't give the Doggies any chance at all? They've won 1 out of 4.
It's a wet weather game.
Yeah.
It's going to be pissing down in Sydney. Absolutely just pissing down.
Yep. Roosters are a bit of an anomaly this year, but they're a 2-2 team, like the Raiders, like the Eels, like the Wahs, like Manly. And you're sitting there going, half of me goes, oh, they're a good side, and the other half goes, well, hang on a second.
No, they are a good side, because the 2 losses came against Manly, who are also a good side, I think. And Penrith, who are, they're going to run away with the minor premiership. There's going to be about 4 or 5 wins between top of the table, which will be the Panthers, and then second, which will be...
Do you think it should not be called the minor premiership? We're talking about to Giancarlo Italiano.
No, I like that. Because the premiership is the title.
Okay. But what about with the A-League?
Oh, I really don't like how the A-League do it. I don't like how one of them's the premiership and one of them's the championship.
Oh, yeah,
It sounds a bit strange. The minor premiership is what Australia's always called it, so I like it that way.
Next.
What is more chance of happening? The Dogs beat the Roosters tonight, 8 o'clock, or the Dragons beat the Knights, the game afterwards at 10 o'clock. Knights are at home.
Dragons beat the Knights, or what was the first one again, sorry?
Dogs beat the Roosters.
Dogs beat the Roosters. Dragons beat the Knights.
Do you think they got a chance? They're 2-2.
Yes, certainly.
Well, which team turns up tonight?
The Knights. The Bulldogs are a strange one to work out because I thought, was it round 1 against Parramatta? Who did they lose to in round 2? The Dogs. They lost to.
Let me check, mate.
Who was it?
Round 2?
Bugger. Yeah, who was it?
Dogs
lost to
round.
Oh, was it Cronulla?
Didn't they beat Cronulla?
No, they beat the Titans in
lost
round
to the
3.
Bulldogs. Lost to the Sharks. You're right. In week 2, they lost to the Sharks. Yeah.
So I think it was week 1. Week 1, they actually looked like a half decent team. It was almost like the coaching was there.
That was against the Eels. They lost. Yeah. So they lost to the Eels, then they lost to the Sharks, which are 2 good teams. Then they thrashed the Titans, and
who are shite. My point is that they look like a team that's well coached, but they're let down by their own lack of skilled players, if that makes sense. And that's been the problem with the Bulldogs for many years now. They have no playmakers, no one in the spine. And Matt Burton should be playing in the centres, not the halves. They still feel a little way off, and I think the Dragons are a bit like the Dogs, just with maybe a few more key players for them. Like Ben Hunt, you've got a good halfback there. Does he play 9 or 7 for the Dragons, Ben Hunt? He plays 9 for Queensland, but he's a halfback. Anyway, I'm dragging all of my answer to this. Point is, the Dragons have looked pretty good this year at times. I think there's more of a chance they beat the Knights, who the Knights are a tricky one to work out because they beat the Storm, who were short-handed, but lost by quite a bit to Canberra.
Yeah, and they just didn't really fire a shot against the Warriors.
They fired a couple, but the Warriors weren't really troubled by them, I didn't think.
What is more chance of happening? The Rabbits beat the Wahs tomorrow at 5 o'clock, or Manly beat the Panthers tomorrow at 7:30.
No, Manly are beating the Panthers. There's no chance.
Costo picked him.
Good for Costa. I don't care. He picked the Storm 13+. They only won by 2. Thanks to 2 late tries. He probably picked the Cowboys 13+ this weekend, right?
Of course he did, mate. He always picks the boys.
Sorry, I sound like I'm having a crack at Costa. I don't mean to be. But, no. The Panthers, I think, hammered at home last week that they are, without a doubt, still the pace setters. And even when they are missing the best player in the game right now, or the player that we call the best player in the game, they can still beat a finals-level team in the Roosters. No, I'm not interested in... for the rest of the year, I'm not betting against the Panthers.
But they're going to lose games, mate.
They'll lose games. Like when they play the Broncos, I'll bet the Broncos because I always bet the Broncos.
They're not going to go through from here and just lose one game out of the whole lot.
Who's better than them right now?
Well, I don't know who's better than them, but I think on their night they can be beaten.
Sure, that should have been last week because they were short-handed.
Yeah, should have been.
No Fisher Harris, no Nathan Cleary.
Yeah.
They were up 22-6 on the Roosters.
Okay, all right.
Next.
What is more chance of happening then? Manly do beat the Panthers Saturday night, 7:30.
It's not happening. Don't read the rest out. Manly aren't beating the Panthers. There's more chance that the other one happens. You can give me the most outrageous scenario.
I've got it. Tigers beat the Dolphins straight afterwards.
More chance the Tigers beat the Dolphins, without a
Tigers
doubt.
have got a
There's
legitimate
more chance that the Tigers and the Dolphins play out a draw. They finish level on 0-0. They then go to Golden Point and can't get a point in Golden Point.
How just ridiculous in terms of the table was it on Monday when you looked at it and up the top with the Dolphins?
Well, who have they played?
They played St George and they played the Titans. They were the two teams they'd beaten with St George and the Titans.
And the one team they'd lost to up until round four, was the previously unbeaten Cowboys. So they'd beaten probably the two West teams and had lost to the most informed team, and they'd been
because of the bye, they got
2 points, which is weird. Why do you get 2 points for a bye?
See, I totally agree with this. You don't need to be given 2 points.
How about no one just gets anything?
You don't get anything.
Yeah.
That's it. It's just too confusing otherwise. Okay, how many games do you play? You play 24 games?
Because what it does now, you've got the Dolphins who are on top or whatnot, and you've got teams with added points when they didn't even play. You've got the Tigers who are in the top 8, or were in the top, I think they were 9th after round 1 when they didn't play. They had the bye, but you get 2 points. It's really weird. I don't get it. Don't know why they do it.
They've only played 3 games. They've had that by the Tigers for the first time in 4 years. A great stat, isn't it? They're 6th at the moment in the points table, as a matter of fact. They have won more than they've lost. Now, this may not continue for the rest of the season, but right now, if you're a Tigers fan, you're stretching this week out as far as you possibly can. They're playing the Dolphins.
They've got the longest in a row finals drought as well.
Away from home. I think they've got every chance of winning this game, the Tigers.
Yeah, but both teams do. I don't think the Dolphins are leaps and bounds better than the Tigers. I think they're a better side. They've got a better... This isn't anti-Benji Marshall. They've got a better coach. I think they've got a better roster, but the Tigers have played well. They played pretty damn well against Parramatta. They were lucky that Clint Gutherson missed that kick. They were also really unlucky with that penalty. I didn't think it was a penalty.
How was that a penalty?
Yeah,
how was
really
that a penalty
rough.
at the end? It's like watching Chelsea today scunge a couple of penalties. God, football's just ridiculous these days.
Yeah, but you guys kind of deserve to lose.
Oh, I'm not doubting that because our defence is rubbish. But the way that round ball football works these days, if you're in the area with the ball, I was talking about this with Miles a couple of hours ago on air, people, and it's just that if a defender comes near you and blows at you, you go down.
Well, Dello just trips.
You get the merest brush. So you're not even allowed to make a tackle in the penalty area now, because if you make a tackle and the person you're tackling falls over, it's a penalty regardless.
Well, it used to be.
You've got to be able to win the ball.
That's the thing. It used to be when I played in my day playing football, but I was a centre back and quite a short one. But it was always you get the ball, you're fine. Doesn't matter how hard the player falls, because if you've gone ball first and you haven't taken a knife and cut at their legs, then that's fine. But these days, if you go too that was one of Virgil van Dijk got sent off against Newcastle because he got the ball, but it was too harsh. The tackle was too hard. Exactly.
And too hard. Next. What is more chance of happening? Rabbits beat the Wars Saturday 5 o'clock, which I don't think is going to happen. I think the Wars are too.
Of course you don't, because you're a Warriors fan. No Warriors fan is going to sit there and say that the Rabbitohs will win.
Or the Titans beat the Cowboys Sunday. Well, that's just not going to happen, is it? It's Sunday at 6:05. That's the dud game of the round. Any game involving the Titans, I'm not watching it. I don't even hate them enough to watch them lose. I just find them an irrelevance. They're an annoyance and an irrelevance.
They are irrelevant. They are the Titans.
What they should do is exit that team out of the comp and give it to somebody else. Rather than...
the thing is, you kind of have to have a team on the Gold Coast.
Why? They don't support it. They don't care about it.
No, I think they've got a decent fan base. The problem is the franchise just has no history of winning. I think I said this last week on the show that they've been... So this is their 17th year. So they've had...
Have they ever made the finals?
Yeah, they have. 17 seasons they've had in the NRL, right? They have 4 finals appearances to show for that. 13 years they've missed the finals. They haven't gotten to the grand final in any one of those years.
Have they got close to have they been a game away?
They were a game away, but they got killed by the Roosters by 26 points in 2010. The Roosters went to the grand final against the Dragons. The Warriors, in their first... To the Warriors' credit, in their first 17 years in the comp, they had already been to 2 grand finals. And they were in New Zealand. Well, there's not really much of an excuse for Gold Coast. You are such an attractive destination for players.
It's a beautiful place to live.
It really is. So why aren't you able to recruit?
Because that is why. Because you go to the Gold Coast to do what?
Holiday.
Chase girls. Party. Nightclub.
Oh, that's why.
That's why. That's why. Because
so there's just too many distractions.
I just think
that's why the Crusaders are always successful, because Christchurch is effing boring.
Not as boring as Palmy North, apparently, according to the Spanish women's football team. Finally, what has more chance of happening? The Rabbits beat the Wars Saturday 5 o'clock, or the Raiders beat the Eels last game of the round, Sunday 8:15. Crackerjack game to wrap it all up
Rabbitohs
with.
beat the Warriors or Raiders beat the Eels?
Yeah.
I'll go Raiders beat the Eels.
More chance of happening.
Yeah.
Well, I think this is a Bob each way bet, just like the Tigers and Dolphins.
Just like the Rabbitohs and Warriors.
Raiders and Eels sitting 8 and 9 on the table, both 2 wins, both 2 losses. They're separated by just 1 point in points differential. It doesn't get much closer, does it? If this was, Canberra are at home, okay, so that must give them, and it's a freezing cold weekend.
Yeah, it's nasty to play there. And Canberra,
6 o'clock on a Sunday will be bitter.
They are a mood swinging teenager with their form. One week they are so polished and poised, and not exactly exciting and barnstorming with their offense and whatnot, but they're settled, they're smart, they get through their sets, they take advantage of their opportunities. And there's other weeks where they're just appalling. And that's actually been the Raiders since Ricky Stewart took over. So given that last week you had a Ricky Stewart in a press conference saying that none of our players did anything, don't give credit to any of our players, then maybe this week they're due for a good performance.